Okay, so would you like to tell everyone what we watched this week?
Yep, we're back on the Western trail with this one. Arizona Raiders, 1965 Western drama starring Audie Murphy, more about him later, as Clint Stewart, who's an ex-Quantrell Raider, and more about that later. Buster Crabbe as Captain Andrews, directed by William Whitney, famous for various things in his time, a lot of TV stuff. Proper comic book Western, I thought.
Sort of a drive-in Western.
Yeah.
Audie Murphy made a lot of these.
He did.
So, you got two Western masters. So you've got Whitney, who directed 97 movies, actual cinematic releases amongst many episodic TV stuff.
Yeah.
58 of his 97 were Westerns.
Wow.
And then you've got Audie Murphy, who made 46 films before he died quite young. 33 of those were Westerns. So that's nearly 75%.
Yeah. He's an interesting guy for Westerns, though, isn't he? Because he's a nice guy and he's a little bit softly spoken.
This is quite an edgy character for him, actually.
Yeah.
What I will say is I've seen a lot of Murphy's Western work. He worked with all of the secondary directors and a couple of the bigger ones, but generally speaking, he was a star of secondary Westerns, and he has become one of my favourite Western leading men from the golden era.
Right.
Because I think, and this isn't one of his best roles, I've got to say. I think he has an edge, and he brings it to all of his characters.
Yeah.
That because he had a lot of, frankly, awful real world experiences.
He was a war hero, wasn't he?
He's got a real edge that his character that he brings into films, and that makes his characters feel really lived in
believable
in an era when a lot of the guys are still acting in the sort of studio the studio way.
Yeah, what was this, 65?
This is 65.
It's only 20 years after the Second World War.
This is quite late in his run though, so he died in 1971
my goodness,
in a plane crash.
Did he really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so this is one of his latter, I think he maybe made 4 or 5 films after this, but this is at the end of his real peak as a Western star, which would have been mid-50s through to mid-60s.
And he was a crowd pleaser, and he pulled the audiences in.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
and people knew
he's the American hero, right?
Exactly. That's exactly
the original, maybe.
The original. I mean, did you see what he's credited with?
With Murphy, the fascinating thing is he, of course, played himself in his own biopic. Which, by all accounts, is apparently toned down a little.
Yeah, I suppose it would have to be a bit.
And I think weirdly, I guess a lot of soldiers have this. There was a sort of shame involved in the adulation that was thrown at him because of a lot of his friends and comrades didn't come home. And I always think to Hell and Back, his biopic.
Yeah.
It must have brought up horrendous PTSD.
Yeah, imagine having to do that.
And relive it, basically. The worst moments of your life. He was apparently a massive PTSD sufferer. And
he still decided to do this.
And he did. He didn't want to do it, but he did it. And
I suppose there was a demand because he was seen. I mean, he's a Medal of Honor holder, isn't he?
He was the most decorated US soldier of the Second World War.
Was he really?
And there is. Wow. It's not. I don't think it's comprehensively proven, but he is regarded as one of the most highly decorated American soldiers ever.
He's also got decorations for bravery from France and Belgium.
Yeah.
I mean, what a hero.
Yeah, and that's it. And then obviously coming back as a hero, launched his film career.
Yep.
I think it took a little while to get going. I think James Cagney was involved in the early throes.
Right.
And then he obviously found his groove doing westerns and never really strayed away from that.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's a fascinating character, and I do think he had his a whole number of issues, as you can imagine, but he does bring something to these characters that separates them from, as much as I like actors like Joel McCrea and Rory Calhoun, Murphy it just brings that unpredictability which is probably just him.
Yeah, that's realism, though, isn't it? Because
That's realism,
he's playing. If you've lived a life, well, he's not, cowboy, but he's been in the field of warfare, so he has a lot to offer in terms of what he can deliver to a role of somebody who's fighting for his own survival, and it's quite. I was surprised. It's quite a brutal film
for the era.
A lot of blood, and know.
I think the film is clever in the respect that it's actually a fairly complex, multifaceted story.
It is.
That is extremely easy to follow.
Yeah.
Because you've got the Quantrill Raiders, you've got the what become the Arizona Rangers, and then you've got the Indian tribe, and all of the stories bleed into each other, but it's done in a very easy to follow
but it
way.
Is very much a classic good. Evil turns good guy.
Yeah, of course it is.
So it's good against evil, but then it goes a bit dark and it gets a bit sort of bit bloody and a bit sadistic, and that cactus torture thing.
Yeah,
blimey.
Yeah,
a quick 1 second look of a guy with a load of cactus in his face.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't know if that was a real Indian torture, but
well, it might be.
It looked pretty bad.
Yeah, and even again for the era, and this is obviously at the point that Hollywood was. This is when Hollywood was just starting to turn. Yeah. But the scene with Murphy and I forget his name now, his friend. Yeah. When they go back to the Raiders, the secondary sort of assembly of Raiders, and his friend sort of plays dumb and says he was going back to town, and Murphy he was going for the border, and Murphy didn't know anything about it. Yeah. And he just shoots him dead in front of him. Yeah. And there's a brutality to it for sure. For its time, I mean, I know it's 65, but a lot of westerns, they're not that bloody and violent. You know, you see shooting, but you don't see a lot of blood. But they weren't pulling any punches on this one. Interestingly, so we've got Audie Murphy as Clint Stewart, hasn't we? Buster Crabbe appears as Captain Andrews. Now, Buster Crabbe, of course, is the original. He was an Olympic swimmer. Yeah. Wasn't he? He played Tarzan, and then most famous probably for the original Flash Gordon. I think. And it's interesting to see him in there. Yeah, he was at the latter end of his career, obviously. I think so. Yeah, but like with a lot of these westerns, you see the meshing of lots of different eras of stars. Some who are on the wane, some who are on the way up, some who are in their pomp, and it's good. I think the actual initial scene setting is the weakest part of this film. I don't like the narration. I don't like the narration at all. It doesn't need it. It turns it into a bit of a gumshoe thing. What I would say is this film really gets going when we see Buster Crabbe flag down the trailer with the convicts on, and that setup where he drags them to one side and sort of says turning point, isn't it? And I suddenly got interested then because I was kind of I love that the whole setup where he's like, you're basically going to have to pretend to overthrow me and capture me, and then we'll have someone waiting up the
when
river.
He takes them to one side, and
that's a great scene. It's a really really good, and like you say, that is when the film turns from what is a really generic and fairly dull opening to suddenly there's interest there. Yeah, I suddenly thought, okay, this is going to be an interesting story, because if these guys have got to play this role and pretend to be this, and then you can almost see it almost unfurl in front of you, as all of a sudden you buy into it. And then up until then I was just thinking, okay, because I was looking at, whilst I was watching it, I was looking at what William Whitney done, and a lot of his stuff's TV. You've got the Virginian, 62 to 69. You've got Tarzan, 67 to 68. High Chaparral. I mean, these are all sort of stalwart, sort of cornerstone. He did some Bonanza. He did some Zorro. Oh, did he? He did some Lone Ranger. He did one film with Oldie again, which is 40 Guns to Apache Pass. Yes, he did. He did too. He did. I haven't seen 40 Guns to Apache Pass. He did a film called Apache Rifles the year before. Oh, I haven't seen that. Which again is it's a fairly edgy western for the time. Yeah, where Murphy plays a cavalryman. Right, and they're ousting some Indians or trying to put some Indians on a reservation. Right, and he he starts as a very much a basically racist against the Indians, and his head is turned, realising that they're humans too. And he plays a bit like this, where he and this is a real
tones of Captain Apache
hallmark,
isn't it?
hallmark of his performance, where over the runtime, his head is turned, and he is always finishes morally upright. That is probably a better film than this, I will say. What I will say, the biggest weakness here is actually, whilst Murphy is very much the star, he is not given star treatment, and he spends all of his scenes with Michael Dante attached to his hip as his friend, who is not very strong.
If only they'd given Audie more to get his teeth into. I just felt that it was
he is much better on his own.
He is, and there could have been an awful lot more to it. It kind of, I don't know, lost potential, I think. I up until the point where it turned and you can suddenly see where it was going to, you suddenly realise how it was going to play out. I was kind of getting a bit lost in it up until then. And I was thinking, where am I going to go with this, and what's it going to do? And the narration, it all felt a bit...
The narration was an awful choice.
But it just felt wrong. You don't narrate...
No, the Contra-Raiders.
No, I mean, it's not like Chicago, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
It was a rainy afternoon, Come on.
Two things that I love about all of these westerns, and pretty much all of Murphy's are the same.
Yeah.
They have those awesome opening credits with the painted images.
It looks great, doesn't it?
And
it looks
the
beautiful.
Technicolor is breathtaking. Like, you watch it on a modern TV on a good print, like the one we saw was an HD print on Film 4.
It looks stunning.
It looks as good as anything ever.
Yeah.
In terms of its clarity and its crispness.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Gorgeous.
It's a pleasure to watch just for the scenery and the westernness of it.
Yeah. And
as a screensaver.
Yeah, you could take frames from this without a doubt.
Yeah.
And that was the reason Whitney did so many of these, apparently, is because he could shoot them so quick.
And he's good at them.
So they gave him the Technicolor equipment knowing he would have it for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And he'd have a film.
Okay.
Whereas people would, take longer, and the equipment's expensive and it's needed on other shoots. Because you've got to remember, there's films of this period with bigger stars in that are still shooting black and white.
That's true.
But this is very much a B picture.
Yeah.
But all of Murphy's stuff with secondary directors is all Technicolor, because they could shoot them quick, and they could just shoot them on backlots, and they look great.
I think I've made used the phrase, certainly on this film before. It's a classic comic book western, isn't it? You could almost be reading.
Yeah, it is.
Reading it in a comic, or Lancer or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Lancer Annual, 1969, and it's this story, and you'll turn the next page, and he's double crossed them.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and then,
it's got all your favourite tropes, hasn't it? From beginning to end. You know what you're going. It's sort of a comfort food movie. It's not.
It is. If you want to watch an easy go, well, it's not that easy go. But if you want to watch a western that looks and feels like a nice, easily accessible western, start here.
Yeah,
and then just decide which elements of the western theme you like, and then if you like gunfighters, if you like the lone gunman, if you like Mexican rescued villagers, you've got so much more direction to go in. But this is your sort of bedrock western movie, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
and it does the job. I liked it. I thought it was. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of Audie movies, Murphy's movies, but I thought he was. Whilst there should have been more of him, I thought it was quite a good performance from him all round.
Yeah, he is remarkably good.
I mean, apart from him
doing this, that's the biggest weakness, isn't it? I don't think either of the villains are particularly villainous.
No.
You would probably. I mean, the Quantrell is barely in it.
Yeah.
Before I will say
missed opportunity.
What I did really like though was the scene when I think it was is it Brady goes to find the who he's going to re-recruit as leader of the
oh yeah
and he finds him in the bar and he's playing cards.
That's right.
And the guy thinks he's got him beat.
Western,
and the guy thinks he's got him beat, and he says something to the effect of, "You haven't seen my hand yet," and he stabs him in the hand.
That's right. That's quite brutal.
It is quite brutal. Yeah. Bearing in mind this is 65, so the spaghetti western hasn't yet
64
kicked off. 64 is
65
is
when
the
it
Leone
emerged.
stuff, but the Leone stuff doesn't have the ultra violence that we would see later.
Right.
So in terms of the Western violence, scenes like that are really quite edgy for.
I tell you what, that one scene with the knife reminded me of, and you might have seen this. I think it's Coen Brothers, Ballad of Buster Scruggs, when he shoots him in the face playing cards, and it's the old classic line of "You seen him, you play him."
Yeah, that's it.
And I thought it's just like he stuck a knife in his hand and said, "Right, you've got to play that hand now." And stuck a knife in it, and I wondered if he got some inspiration.
Very possible. It's a really good scene. It's a really good scene.
Yeah, it's memorable, and pretty violent for the time as well.
Yeah,
put it right in his hand, and the knife's still in the table.
There's knife still in the table when they're drinking whiskey. Yeah,
it's got blood dripping down it. I was wondering, and then they don't. And they're talking about what they're going to be doing next and where they're going to go, and it's pretty mercenary stuff.
And then obviously, it wouldn't be a comic book western without a gold shipment to rob.
Oh, obligatory, I believe. Yeah, that's right.
But
usually only one person knows where it is,
Yeah,
and he gets killed at the beginning.
Yeah.
So,
it is a bit of a case of what could have been. There's lots of good stuff, but I do think the story is weak. There's some gorgeously composed scenes in there, but there's just not enough to truly get behind.
I suppose the danger is we've seen so many westerns. This is 65, and we've seen so many westerns now, and you've had spaghettis and everything to compare them to, and you've got the run of the sort of like the 60s, 70s westerns, and they get progressively more violent, but they have more content, and the writing gets more clever.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
this is the
looking back, I suppose at the time it was a reasonably good western, but there's been a lot of water under the bridge with a lot of other good westerns since, so you can't help but compare it.
It's just a safe bet, isn't it? Audie Murphy was a guaranteed box office draw.
True, and then
you got William Whitney, who's a safe pair of hands.
Exactly. So it was going to be a success, but then you got the lights of the big stars like Eastwood and the like coming through
they're now
on the spaghetti.
Yeah,
this is basically steal the show.
Very much at the turn.
Yeah,
we're 66, 7, 8 is when you would start to get some really strong stuff, and this bridges the gap. So you'd have the sort of family western space was still occupied by John Wayne for another probably decade after this.
Yeah,
and then the stuff that was
held on to that for a long time.
For a long time, and then the stuff that was edgier would be obviously your spaghetti westerns. Then when Eastwood came back to the States, and then Peckinpah, and you would get
the western was reinvented, wasn't it?
It was reinvented,
and that's why all of a sudden there was another resurgence.
Because
it was getting not tired, but the formula was all.
It was too friendly, wasn't it?
Recirculated, and like you say, you could pick like the Gold Shipment, the Bandits, the Village.
It's not grimy, it's not gritty. This sort of starts to cross that bridge. William Whitney worked with Roy Rogers. It was a massive Western style. But if you watched a Roy Rogers film and then watched a Sergio Corbucci film, total polar opposites.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting transitional Western. It's not Murphy's best
work. It's High Chaparral with the gloves off, isn't it, really?
It is, yeah.
He's allowed to just go that little bit further because he's on the big screen as opposed to on the TV.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the opposite side of Whitney. Is it's a bit too safe. He's not prepared to take any risks.
Makes money though.
But it's a potboiler, right? It's a guaranteed win for everyone.
Yeah. I guess they sort of got him on board because they knew what they were going to get.
Yeah.
You got the all-American hero in there. It's a reasonable story. People will go to the movies and pay to watch that because they know exactly what they're going to get.
Yeah,
There's no surprises. And I think maybe it was the case then people wanted to be entertained rather than sort of like, shocked and educated.
You didn't want some moral undercurrent or political statement made by a filmmaker at this point.
You don't need
You just wanted to see Audie Murphy.
Exactly right.
Be the hero in a kind of roundabout way.
Yeah, that's right. He's just doing the all-American thing and if people want to go to a movie to feel good, and have a good story to carry them through, and he prevails, then great, So let's cover our sort of our standard. We've done a cast overview here.
Mm-hmm.
I've just got Audie Murphy written down all the time.
Like I say, this was one of the few I'd not seen. Yeah. And it's one of the poorer efforts in my opinion, and I'll get on to some of his better
the
stuff
characters out, did they?
in the
So
recommendations.
standout performance, I've got Murphy again.
Murphy, I thought Buster Crabbe was pretty good, believable. He's not in it a great deal.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
But
he did give an extra dimension.
There
didn't
are
he?
a couple of poor performances in there as well. I didn't love Michael Dante as Nicky Murphy's friend.
No,
I just thought he
lacked
was
substance, didn't it?
Bearing
really?
in mind he is meant to be a Quantrill raider. He's a little bit clean cut.
He is a bit. You question his CV. If you were Quantrill, you'd be questioning the CV, wouldn't you? Are you sure you've done all this? Because you don't look like the kind of
exactly.
How many men you killed?
He's just a little bit. He's just a little bit dour.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so standout performance. We've done that, Murphy. I mean, what are your pairings? What are you thinking?
Well, I've got a few in terms of. I would. If
Are they all westerns? Because mine are.
One of them's not. One of them's a real.
Right.
One of them's a real reach.
Ooh, okay, let's
but
do that.
I'll do that last because, like I say, that's quite a jump.
Yeah.
If I was to do it with a Murphy Western, I would say you could do it with Whitney's Apache Rifles from the year before.
Yeah.
Similar sort of story.
Yeah.
I would pair it with what is one of my favourite westerns, full stop, and my favourite Murphy Western.
Yeah.
No Name on the Bullet.
Right.
Which is a film where, again, he plays a really villainous character, Murphy, and he arrives in town, and he's a famous gunman,
Right.
and everyone knows he's there to kill someone,
Right.
but no one knows who it is. So they're all they've all got skeletons in their closet,
Right.
and they're all trying to work out
Which one?
who he's there
Oh, I see.
to kill.
Oh,
And
that is a really interesting
the whole
idea.
film is building up to who it is, and we find out in the very, very last throes.
It's a bit high noony then, almost.
It's
in
a
real
bit
time.
high noony, and he doesn't speak a lot in it, but he's really, really good and smug and menacing as this gunman. And it's directed by Jack Arnold, who did Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yep.
He did a lot of creature feature stuff, but he made a couple of westerns, and that one is really, really good. So if I was to pair it with a Murphy, it would be that one.
Yep.
The other westerns I've got, Man of the West, Gary Cooper.
Yeah.
Sort of former outlaw that's gone good and then got caught back up in things. And The Law and Jake Wade, weirdly from the same year as Man of the West, 1958.
Yeah.
A classic sort of western again. Richard Widmark as a villain.
That's right.
You've got Rod Taylor as the lead, and he's a former outlaw that's gone back to become a lawman back in his town.
Right.
And Widmark seeks him out because he knows where the gold is buried, and he basically takes him hostage and takes him there. It's John Sturges' film, I think.
Yeah, well, there you go. You can't go far wrong with those.
My reach,
Go on, I'm interested.
which is I've gone from the perspective of when they're Arizona Rangers and they infiltrate the Raiders, is Training Day 2001. Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
Because obviously Hawke knows that Washington's character is bent.
Yeah.
But he sort of plays along.
Yeah.
And I thought that kind of worked. It was not. I mean, it's far better than a modern version of this. That'd be doing it a disservice.
No, I know what you mean.
But I thought there's enough similarity there in terms of we're on board with Hawke.
Yeah.
Sort of as the knowing that he's trying to get on the inside of Washington's crime ring in the same way Murphy, when he turns, he's trying to get on the inside of the Raiders' crime ring and trying to convince them the whole time.
Yeah. Interesting. Now, mine are all fairly straightforward westerns, ranging in years. So the oldest one, Texas Rangers, 1951, which is one that I've put forward as a possible comparison there. Bullet for a Bad Man, 1964. And then you're leading into the Spaghettis, of course, which were just starting to emerge then. And then bringing it right up to date, 1976, I've got Outlaw Josie Wales.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason I put that in is it is a bit like the sort of bad guy but good, principled, and you want him to be. Yeah. And he's chased across the state by a bunch of redlegs. And, so it just gave me that vibe because when you're watching something and you just see something or a scene or a phrase or a particular piece of scenery or a particular scenario or like I said with the Ballad of Buster Scruggs, your mind's constantly thinking, oh, that reminds me of that reminds me of that. And one that kept coming through was the Outlaw Josie Wales, simply because it just kept. Once it got into my head, I couldn't get it out of it. But
it's one of those films you just sort of want to live in it for the runtime because it looks so good. Yeah. It's that sort of picture postcard, perfect.
Yeah, and it feeds other movies, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
You start thinking, that reminds me of that, and
it's like
book,
if you were to see a postcard of a typical suburban American house from like the 60s, this would be on the television. Yeah. It's that Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, Inglorious Techno Vision colour.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, with all the guys with westerns and bandanas.
Yeah, and everyone, you've got your hero and he's always going to come out on top, but you every week it sort of changes a little bit how he does it.
So it is a bit like Bonanza, isn't it?
It is, it's sort of, it's one step forward, isn't it? In terms of, there's a little bit of violence and edge in there.
Bonanza for grown-ups.
But pretty much Bonanza for grown-ups, yeah.
Especially with a cactus. Ooh,
there was a couple of scenes in there that were...
There's a couple of cactus in our house, and I went and had a look at them after that, and I thought,
it's like that, and the knife scene, and there's one or two others when...
it's brutal.
When Michael Dante's character gets shot in front of Murphy as well. That really
uncompromising. Yeah, he has got a dark side, hasn't he? Which I think he likes to play with if he given the chance.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So what did you score it then?
I gave it a 3, which may be a little generous, but
I gave it a 6. So I'm right.
So there you go. Yeah,
it's a decent western.
It was a little bit better than just being average. I don't know if I'd be rushing back to it, but. There's the westerns of this era look so good.
It's a bit like
you almost get an extra
comfy shoes, isn't it? If you I've got a lot of films on DVD that I just play for the way they make me feel and the pleasure of watching them, like a comfortable.
It's the
western.
Sort of film that if I saw it on telly, and I wasn't doing anything better, I would put it on.
Yeah,
exactly. You can just pick it up.
Yeah, if it was on, you'd put it on and have it in the background.
It's all very comfortable and predictable.
Exactly. Yeah,
and a lot of Murphy's work is kind of like that. He's
accessible, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It does what it says on the holster.
Yeah, exactly that.
or the bean tin.
But it's good to do one of his films. Maybe we'll do one of the better ones.
Yeah.
Because he's such a fascinating character.
Yeah,
but it's like you say, it's just a comic book western.
Yeah.
Just easy to pick up. It's the sort of western you start watching when you've done the hits.
It's all you could almost have it as an intro to westerns.
Yeah, it kind of
is. And
is.
Use it as a springboard into what kind of westerns do you really like? Because there's a lot of content.
There's a lot of content. Yeah, I suppose so. And if you like the violent scenes, you could go into the the Peckinpah and the spaghetti western stuff. And if you enjoy the sort of happy family scenes, there's loads of the old the golden era 40s and 50s stuff.
Exactly.
Where everyone is clean cut and Jimmy Stewart westerns.
Your Winchester 57 and Shane and all that sort of stuff. It's picture book western, isn't it?
It's picture book golden era western.
Driving Saturday.
Before they had to reinvent it all.
Exactly. Okay,
there we go.
But like we say, if you watch it yourself, make up your own mind.
Yeah, and by all means, if you have seen it, then let us know. So we will be, as always, back next week, and we'll see what we have in store then.
Excellent.